Hi, this is Dr. Jim Anderson, and I'm here to talk to you about your restless legs and why you have to get up and walk. Why you go to bed, and I hear your stories all the time about you can't sleep. You go to bed, you're in bed for an hour or two, and you're just, here we go again. It's your legs start to bother you, you're getting anxious, you have to get up and move around, and when you do that, it tends to relieve the problem. And this can happen to you multiple times every night, and for some of you, it's going to happen even during the day. Maybe you're in a plane, maybe you're in a car, maybe you're at a movie theater, maybe you're out to dinner with friends. It's embarrassing. I hear your stories, and it's hard for people really to relate to that, and you begin to think you're kind of crazy. You're not. It's really a really serious issue, and especially when your restless legs are seriously bothering you, it can be a tremendous problem. So I want to propose to you this idea. Now, a couple things I want to say before we start going through this. Number one, I do not have a study to back this up, so that's really important. I think at some time I have some ideas as to how we might be able to more objectively substantiate this, okay? We do have a study and a second one to be published soon, but the studies are showing, as the first publications ever, that we are able to reverse your symptoms of restless legs by opening up nerve tunnels in the lower extremity that have become too tight. But really all I'm going to focus on now is the circulatory system, because I think that is the key to why you have to get up and move. That's the solution. You get up and move and it kind of soothes you. So listen really closely. This is doctor's writing, so hopefully you can read it. I'm actually kind of proud of it because I can even read it. So let's start at the top, and I'm just going over a couple very basic principles up here. First of all, let's talk about arteries. Arteries are thicker than veins. They're more like plastic tubing. And they've got muscles in them. So they're very hard to compress compared to a vein. It takes 3 times as much pressure to compress an artery as it does a vein. If you go over here, you can see this is a vein, and I kind of made it oval shape just to indicate that very little pressure, only 1/3 as much pressure is needed to compress a vein. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go through this explanation. Now let's go down to the next picture. This is trying to represent your heart, and just this is a limb, there's a foot, and the red would indicate the arterial blood flow coming down. Obviously you've got a very powerful pump in your heart. It's very strong, and the muscles contract, and it's going to push that blood down to the foot. And then for the blood to go back up, it's going to go through a lower pressure system, the venous flow. So the venous flow is represented with the blue arrows, and then the blue vessel, and the red would be obviously the artery. These little lines there indicate 2 specific nerve tunnels that are the ones I think are primary in most people for causing a lot of the restless leg symptoms. And so let me expand on what's going on in these tunnels. So this little line there indicates this is a blown up version of that tunnel. And again, we're just talking about the flow of blood in and out of the leg. So when you look here, what I'm trying to show you with the red arrows is the blood is coming down. There's pressure, there's a tunnel here. And what I'm trying to tell you is there's pressure on these vessels more than you should have, okay? When you have restless legs, you've got too tight a tunnel. It's like carpal tunnel, okay? A lot of you have heard of carpal tunnel syndrome. So with there being too much pressure, it not only affects the nerves, which we've already kind of established, but it also affects the circulation, okay? And how does it do that? Well, again, arterial blood, it's going to be pretty hard to put pressure on that and for that arterial flow to be blocked at all. It might be a little bit, but not a lot. The venous blood, different story entirely, okay? The venous blood is represented by the blue. So the blood, arterial blood comes down to the foot, it makes a U-turn, it goes back up to the heart, and on the way up, it encounters one of those 2 tight tunnels. And what's it going to do? It's like a traffic jam. The blood flow, it's going up, and it will get through, but it slows down a lot. And so what you're doing when you get up at night, when you're maybe in an airplane and you can't wait for them to lets you know that you can get up and go to the bathroom, because then you can walk in the aisle. When you're actually doing that, what's happening is your muscles are contracting, and that helps pump that blood back up to the heart. Now, the venous blood gets back up to the heart two different ways. One is the veins have one-way valves, so the blood will flow up, but it won't flow back down. I mean, just imagine you've got your heart up here, and when you're standing up, how's that blood going to get all the way going against gravity up back to your heart? Some of it's because of the flow, the pressure going down helps make the U-turn to get it back up. But then once it starts back up, these one-way valves don't allow a column of blood to go back down. And besides that, your muscles, when they contract, help pump that up. So all I'm suggesting simply is, because you have more pressure than you should have, it really is affecting the inflow of blood and the outflow of blood into your limb. And it's all happening usually from the knee down, okay? And it's happening, I feel, a lot with this tunnel and this other one up here, which we'll talk about in more detail on some other presentation. But and also one more thing to add, and it's stated back here, you have increased pressure then in leg compartments. Understand that these two areas are where it's sort of like an entryway to a muscle compartment. You have muscle compartments in your legs, and these muscle compartments are separated by dense tissue called fascia. It's kind of like gristle. So it's a confined space. And it's a miraculous way how your body's built. It's really pretty cool. So the blood will go down and it goes back up, but when it's going back up, it's in a confined space. Muscle contracts, and that helps the pressure to push it back up. So when this is the entryway and exit of the flow in and out of the compartment, it will get jammed up. And I'm proposing it not only creates pressure on the nerve, and that might give you tingling, burning, tingling, and things like that. But it's also creating more pressure, and it's building up pressure in the compartment, and it's slowing down venous blood return. Again, that's why you have to get up and walk around. So I hope that enlightens you. I think it's a really interesting concept, and helps explain and backs up, I feel, that your restless legs problem is really a problem with compression. I like to call it actually restless leg compression syndrome. So thank you for watching, and I hope that was enlightening.